Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're live. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We are going to do dissecting the Quran because this is not going to take more than a half an hour. But the first part of the show, we're going to see if the Quran or the Bible is a clear communication device. And we're going to use Abraham as uh, the test subject. And what we're going to do is which book would give you more information? If you were to pick up the Bible and read about Abraham, and you were to pick up the Quran and read about Abraham, which one would give you more details? So this is what we're going to do. I typically don't do Bible versus the Quran. I do strictly Quran, but we're going to do that. But before we get started, let me play my intro. All right, I'm going to cut the intro short because I don't know what's going on. It's kind of jerking on my end. Was it kind
Yeah,
of jerky on?
It
Yeah,
was.
I mean, I don't understand. This is a new laptop with 4 times the
Um,
memory.
I load mine into YouTube and play it off YouTube. That it just makes it easier to flow.
Yeah. So, okay. So, all right, let's share the screen then. We'll bypass that. Okay, got to add the screen. Okay. And I got to go back to that screen and let me start at the top. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at, this is the map. You can go to any, Bible website. And this is basically the map of Abraham's travels. Okay, Abraham was born over here, Ur of Chaldea, and he traveled all the way in the red line. Let me go back up. Oops. All the way down. And I couldn't get this all on one screen because nobody would be able to see. And he ended up over here in Egypt and the Sinai area. Yeah, sure. Okay, so if you've ever read the Quran and you want to find out about Abraham, what does the Quran say? So what I've done is I've looked at the Bible and let's see. Now, in the Bible, we know that Abraham, he built 4 altars. In the Quran, it alludes to Abraham and Ishmael raising the foundation. Muslims say it's the Kaaba, but it doesn't even say it's the Kaaba. Okay. Mecca is only mentioned one time, and it's not a verse that has to do with Abraham. There is another verse that says Becca, and some translator in Sahih International, which is 3 American women, they changed the the bead into an M. So it's not Mecca, it's Baka. Okay, so as we can see here, the first altar that Abraham built is called the Altar of Hope. And we find that in Genesis 12:6. Now I'm not going
Wait,
to read the whole thing.
so Genesis 12:6. I mean, I want to read that because it shows a huge difference between that
Right.
and the Quran.
Well,
So like I
good luck
look at
finding it. Good luck finding anything in the Quran that has to do with this. So
yeah.
we
Well,
know
the reason
that.
I'm saying you want to read it because this
Okay.
has details.
Okay. So in Genesis 12:6, we read, and Abram, because this is before Abraham's Abram was changed to Abraham. So Abram passed through the land to the place of Shechem, as far as the terebinth tree of Moreh. At the time of the Canaanites, were in the land, and that's God. Yahweh appeared to Abraham and said, "To your seed I give this land." And he built an altar to Yahweh, who had appeared to him, which I do believe was Jesus appearing to Abraham.
So you have a lot of details there, and that's
Yeah,
that's why I was looking at you. Okay, you have places, you have people's
yeah,
names. And when we were just going through the series yesterday, that was the thing we were saying. There's no details.
right. Here you get the full story. So the second altar that he built is called the altar of prayer, and we find that in the next chapter in Genesis 13:3, which says, "And he went on his journey from the south as far as Bethel to the place where his tent had been at the beginning, between Bethel and Ai, to the place of the altar which he had made there at first. And there Abram called on the name of Yahweh." So we see there's now these are altars. These are not a Kaaba, right? They're not like big houses or anything. And then we have the third altar, which is called the altar of communion. And this is also found in Genesis 13, but verse 18. So Abram moved his tent and went and dwelt by the terebinth trees of Memra, which is in Hebron, and built an altar to Yahweh. And I will show you where Hebron and Memra is on a map. So this is the third altar. Now we go to the fourth one, which is in Genesis 22:9. Let me just take a look and see if, okay. So, why doesn't this thing have a little thing on the side? Okay. So on this one, it says 9, and they came to the place which Elohim had commended him. And Abraham, now by this time, Abram's name had been changed, built an altar there and placed the wood in order. And he bound Isaac, I'm not going to pronounce that name,
Yeshua.
his son, and laid him on the altar upon the wood. And Abraham stretched out his hand and took the knife to slay his son. So this is basically the altar because of the sacrifice that he was going to make for God and obeying God when God says for him to sacrifice his only son. Now, we know that Abraham had more than one son at that time because Ishmael was already a pretty decent sized lad. But the reason God says his only son was because Isaac was the only promised child that God said that Abraham would have through Sarah, his wife, who was barren at that time. Okay, now we find, Abraham's father. Now, according to, what was that verse, 674, in the Quran, Abraham's father is called Azar. I don't have a clue where that name came from. But if we read Genesis 11:26, we find Terah lived 70 years and became the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran. So he had 3 kids. All right. Now, here's something that you won't find in the Quran except the it's alluded, and Muslims will tell you that Abraham and Ishmael were in Mecca, but that's just it. Was he really in Mecca? So in the Torah or Genesis, we find
For the first book of the Torah.
Yeah, we find that there's at least 17 locations that Abraham traveled between. So obviously we have Ur of Chaldeas. That's where he was born. That's in Genesis 11:31.
And this is part of the Fertile Crescent for those who don't know.
From there he goes on to Haran, which is in Genesis 12:1-4. There he proceeds to go to Damascus, which is in Genesis 15. From there on, he goes to Shechem, Genesis 12:6, and I know it jumps back and forth, but that was my source, so you can blame my source. And then from Shechem, he goes to Bethel, from Bethel to Egypt, back to Bethel, then he goes to Hebron, then he goes to Dan, then he goes to Hobah, then he goes to Salem, he travels back to Hebron, then he goes to Gerar, goes to Beersheba. Now, this is important because Muslims will tell you that Hagar was in Mecca when she was kicked out of Abraham's family and tribe, but she was kicked out at the wilderness of Beersheba. Nowhere near Mecca, not unless she had a car or maybe even a plane.
That's good. By feet, we're
Yeah.
talking. Oh my gosh, I don't know how
You're talking about a month or so. Oops. And
probably more
then
than that.
yeah, and then not only that, where would she carry all the food for her and
When
Ishmael and the
for
water?
people don't think about
Yeah.
the average person travels 3 miles an hour,
Right.
and how many miles would you walk a day?
Yeah, but also
In
remember that's not walking 3 miles in the desert heat.
That's the other part.
I mean, you would sweat yourself to death before you even made it to three
She took
miles.
an Uber camel.
Yeah, that's what it was. Oh, that's what it was. Okay, so then he goes to from Hebron, he goes to Gerar, then Beersheba. Then he goes to Moriah, which we just read. That's where he was going to sacrifice Isaac. Then he goes back to Beersheba, and then he goes back to Hebron. So you see, in the Bible, we clearly see the 17 locations, cities, towns, whatever you want to call them, that Abraham traveled to with his people. In the Quran, you will not get anything like this. You won't, well, like I said, Muslims will tell you that Abraham was in Mecca because there's a verse there that says he raised the foundations with Ishmael, but we don't know where that particular house is. Again, Mecca is only mentioned once, and it has nothing to do with what Abraham. Okay, the wives of Abraham, according to the Bible, Genesis 11:29, it says that Abraham and Noah, which is his brother, they both married. Now, Abraham took a wife, and her name was Sarai. That's before her name was changed, right? And the name of Nahor's wife was Milcah, and she was the daughter of Haran, the father of both Milcah and Ishka. Then, oops, yeah, next time I'll try to do this in the PowerPoint because, okay, so then we find in Genesis 25:1, this is after Sarah had died, Abraham took another wife. And according to 25:1, it says Abraham had taken another wife whose name was Keturah. Now we see that it says Abraham's wife was Sarah, and Abraham took a wife, Keturah. Nowhere in the Torah or in Genesis do we ever find Hagar being referred to as a wife, except for that one verse, and that verse is basically Sarah giving her to be a wife. But Abraham never married her. She was never called his wife. The angel didn't call her the wife of Abraham. God himself did not call her his wife. Instead, he referred to as the bondswoman of Sarah. Same thing with the angel. Now, we also know, okay, kids of Abraham. Now, according to the Quran, you'll think that Abraham only had two kids, Isaac from Sarah and Ishmael from Hagar. Now, here's a funny thing. In the Quran, Allah is very clear that he gave or bestowed on Abraham Isaac and Jacob. Now, Allah doesn't know that Jacob is not the son of Abraham. That's his grandson, but that's okay. That's just between me and you. We won't tell him, okay? But what the Quran fails to tell you is that Abraham, after Sarah died, he married Keturah, and she had 6 other sons, and there's their names. I'm not going to pronounce their names. So in total, Abraham had 8 kids. In the Quran, he's got 2. In the Quran, you will not know how old Abraham was when he died. According to Genesis 25, verses 7 and 8, Abraham was 175 years old when he died. The Quran also does not tell you where Abraham where Abraham died or where he was buried. Well, once again, in Genesis, we find out that Abraham was buried in a cave in Machpelah near Memrah, and was attended by both of his sons, Isaac and Ishmael. This is another indication that Ishmael was never in Mecca. because I believe that the process of being buried that time is you were like buried right away, right? There wasn't no 5 days in the funeral home or any of that stuff. So maybe at best 3 days. Now, if he was in Mecca and Ishmael had to travel from Mecca to this place here, which let me click on the map, and then I'll have to switch screens. Let me go over here. Okay, stop the screen. There's got to be a better way. I think next time I'll try OBS. Okay, over here, Abraham Bible, the Quran, King's Bible. Okay, share. Okay, I'm going to try to see if I can blow it up a little bit. Oh, okay, yeah. Now, for some strange reason, this particular map, it's got, I don't know, yeah, looks like Arabic, Jewish. But anyway, this is where it's at. Here's the Dead Sea. Okay. Let me shrink it so you can see where Mecca. Okay. You can see here's Beersheba. I don't know if you guys can see it. Probably not. But let me blow it up a little bit. Whoops.
Hey, Paul disconnected. He said he's backstage. If you can add him back, I think.
Oh, okay. Hold on. So, let me go back here. Where is Paul? He's down there at the stream. Okay. Let me blow this back up. Okay.
Can you do like a map? I mean, how long it takes to get from Beersheba to?
Yeah. I've got that next. I'm trying to see. All right. I'm trying to blow this up. Here's Beersheba. Mecca would be. I hate this stupid. I mean, Mecca's not even here. If I shrink it down, you'll see the little red thing here is the
Beersheba.
No, actually, this is where he was buried.
Okay.
Machpelah. Beersheba is further down. But here's the Red Sea, right? So Mecca would be all the way down here. As a matter of fact, I think this is Mecca right here. Okay, so clearly we can see Abraham.
That's not an overnight trip.
No, Abraham was not buried anywhere near Mecca. Now this one shows the distance from Mecca to where Abraham was buried. Let's see if it loads up.
He could have been riding the that
Burak.
Muhammad. Yes,
He was
riding Burak.
All right.
The last president, the flying ass.
All right. So let me share the screen. Share screen. Brave Mecca. Okay. Let's see. Share. Let me see how it looks. Okay. So I'm going to see if I can blow it up a little bit. No, thanks. Okay. Where's the. Okay. So here, can you guys see that? The little red thing right there? I want to try to blow it up a little bit, but
I see it. It's plenty visible.
Yeah, it isn't. Okay, so this should be much better. This is where he was buried. All right, if we go down to Mecca. Okay, hey, look at that. We still haven't gotten to Mecca. We're still going. So here's Mecca. If you were to go by car, okay, it would take you 17 hours and 49 minutes.
Straight.
The total, straight. Or 15 hours if you go by the blue line. 17 hours is if you go by the other. If you go through Medina. This one is if you go through Yanbu. It's 1,603 kilometers, which is basically about 1,000 miles.
How about walking?
I'm not
Okay, so wait a minute.
I'm wondering.
I'm not
Let me
even
get my
sure
calculator out here.
It's about 1,000 miles.
Okay, 1,000. 1,000 what?
1,600. It's it depends on which route.
Okay, let's take the one through the along the ocean line.
Let's say let's take the shortest route,
Okay.
1,437 kilometers. Let's see how long it would take you
Do you have
by
it in
foot.
miles or no?
No, this isn't kilometers, so you have to
All
divide
right.
it by
I don't know how far we walk in.
you have to divide by 1.6. Now here's the thing. This is if you walked. Apparently, this is the only route that you could walk to get there. Notice you got to walk all the way from here, go through here. Okay. Now, why you not through here? Maybe because these are all mountains or hills or whatever. Okay. But if you, and I guarantee you, now they won't tell you how many miles this is walking. Let me see. Does it tell you? No, it doesn't.
Hold
tell
on,
you.
give me
Okay,
the number.
so let me just look at it this way.
Kilometers.
So I divided by 1.6. That should give me miles, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now I divided by a person walks 3 miles an hour. That's the average pace of a person. Not talking about desert. And if we're going along the ocean line, that's why I said go along the ocean line. We are walking 798 hours.
Yeah, Google tells you 569 hours, which is bullcrap, because that's the total distance if you had to walk. Now here's the thing, Paul. That's driving a car. If
So
you were to
I'm just
walk,
saying if we were going 3 miles an hour at a distance of walking, and
yeah,
that's
yeah, but here's the thing, Paul. Walking is 2,812 kilometers.
oh.
Yeah, big difference because you can't go the other way. Now, Google is giving you the route if you were to walk. Now, again, I don't know what the reason is, but that is
2,812.
Basically, without stopping, you'd have to walk 24 days.
yeah. And we know that would be impossible because you couldn't walk 24 hours. You'd have to stop. And you probably wouldn't be walking at night. So if you were to walk, let's say 12 hours per day, you could multiply whatever you said and times that by 2. I mean, poor Abraham would have been probably already really smelling bad.
Why would you go? That's just that route doesn't make sense to me. But that's
This is Google. I mean, I don't know. Maybe on foot, that's the only avenue that you have. But either way, it would be impossible for Ishmael to be in Mecca. Hell, even if Ishmael was in Medina, he would not make it in time for his father's burial because
no way.
I think they have to do it within at least 3 days.
Yeah, it's a very small window of time. It's almost immediate. You wanted to put the body down under the ground, and
you wouldn't be able to do it. So this whole thing, so they're going to have to say that everything in the Bible. Now, why would the Bible? Okay, so a Muslim wants me to believe that that's corrupted because the Bible has more details. I mean, that would make no sense. All right, let me stop the screen. Let me go back here. Share. So, I mean, I wish Muslims would kind of use their brain for once. Okay, so we're back here. All right, so I just showed you where he was buried. Showed you the distance from Mecca to the burial.
And again, Ishmael was there.
Right, and we know Ishmael was there because it says right there, Abraham's burial was in the cave of Machpelah near Mamre, which was attended by both of his sons, Isaac and Ishmael. So now we know Isaac would have been right there with his father, but Ishmael would have had to have been within less than a 3 days walk. Okay, and that would have been impossible. So we see there's really there's nothing as far as details in the Quran, which says it's clear and the verses are explained in detail. And this here, it's just basically showing you the verses that mention Abraham. It's like 70 verses.
You're gonna have to show us that that's those 70 verses you're talking about.
Yeah, I have to pull it up. Oh, wait a minute. I think I already have it.
You already did.
Okay. Yeah, there we go. All right. So now I have to switch screens. StreamYard, you got to find an easier way to do this. See, if I did OBS, if I did OBS, it would be so easy.
Yeah.
Okay, let me go over here. Let me go back over here. I told you it'd be about a half an hour. All right, Mecca. Okay, I can get rid of Mecca. I'll go over here. Let's blow this bad boy up a little bit. It's 125, do 150. How does it look? Okay.
Okay.
All right, now I just got to go down a little bit. All right. So, and let me just put it over here so we can see the writings on the wall. Let me see what it looks like.
So we have and as Lord tested Abraham with words. They made a place of prayer for. Hey, do they ever refer to Abraham as Abraham?
What do you mean as Abraham? Well, here's the thing. And the translation, Abraham gets translated to Abraham except one verse. But anyway, so you see, according to corpusquran.com, when you search for Abraham, because if you do a search for Abraham, guess what? 0. And if a Muslim doesn't believe me, I'll go over here. This is the same thing that happens with Moses. If you type in Moses, you don't get Moses. You have to look for Musa. So if you type in Abraham, which should come up, if it indeed is the translation.
Do they do the same issue for Jesus on that website, like Esau?
Yeah. So like if you let me see. I think yeah. See, if you do Jesus, it's 0.
Wow.
If you do Isa, then you get the 25. If you do Moses, you get 0. So you have to do Musa, which is very weird. So for Abraham, we have to do Ibrahim. And then you get the 70. Now, let me go back.
And they don't even acknowledge the previous name, Abram.
No, they don't. You have no clue that his name was changed or why it was changed.
Which defeats the meaning, because the name itself should mean pretty much.
Right. And you have the same problem with Sarah, because when she got married to Abraham, her name was Sarai. You have the same problem with Jacob. In the Quran, you will never know that Jacob is actually Israel. When I ask a Muslim, can you tell me who Israel is from the Quran? I don't want to hear about your tafsirs. I don't want to hear about your hadiths. I want from your Quran, can you please tell me who Israel is? They can't. Now, before I change it, you can see that it's always Abraham. And the translation is Abraham, except there's one verse, one strange verse that didn't become Abraham. It stayed Abraham. I don't know why. Because if you notice, it's the same word. And what chapter is this?
Chapter 2, 258.
Section 15 or word 15, word 25. It's funny. The first time, and the first time it's translated as Abraham, but then in the second part, it's Ibrahim. Which I think all of them should probably be Abraham, but that's just me. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, what I just demonstrated is that without the Bible, you would have no clue. You would be missing all of this important information: where Abraham was born, where he died, where he was buried, how many altars he built for God, all the different places that he traveled. And there's probably more that I missed. So we have
those, then they could say that those aren't the corrupted verses.
Yeah. And we know who he married. His wife's name was changed. His name was changed after the covenant. Now, here's another thing. We know what the Abraham's covenant was. In the Quran, Allah just mentions covenants.
He never tells anything about what the
We
covenants
have
are
no
or what they
clue.
mean.
And here's a prime example. Why? Hey, Light of Christ, Darcy, everybody, thank you for coming. Why is it that Muslim males circumcise themselves? Where in
good
the
question.
Quran can a Muslim show me that it mentions that Abraham was circumcised and that Abraham was told to circumcise himself and all the people that were there, that were in his.
By the way, just want to give you a heads up. One of my Muslim friends, he is in the chat. He might ask
Oh,
some
you're talking about
questions.
Umar?
Yes, just giving you a
Ah.
heads up. That's a friend of mine.
A good friend
Because
or a
it's a
bad
different
friend?
A
language.
good friend,
Okay.
yeah. Don't
Okay.
Funny.
Let me go back to the generous Quran. So we can pick up there. Let me see. How does it look? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So
Abraham's book.
yeah. So again, this is like, why would you pick up the Quran? Because you're going to be left with basically nothing. You have no information. In the Quran, it goes to, more information about the ants that speak to Solomon than you know about Abraham. Right? Adam. We know Adam has a wife. What's her name? She's not mentioned in the Quran. How was she created? You want to know how Eve was created? You go to Genesis. What was the name of the two sons that Adam had? And which one killed which one? You have no clue. Hey, Bill for Speed, you have absolutely no clue. So again, the Quran without the other books is
Without the Torah.
without the Torah, definitely the Torah, not really much as far as the Gospels. You have nothing. You don't know anything. And not to mention that all the sources that we find in here, they're all stolen from other sources that have nothing to do with Allah. Okay, the Gnostic Gospels have nothing to do with Allah. These are man-made stories. The Talmud has nothing to do with, excuse me, with Allah. Whoa. Yes. Thank you for reminding me, Light of Christ. Supposedly, Abraham also got a book. Where is this book? Can a Muslim show me where is this book?
Can you reference one more time what you were saying, how it's never explained? Because I don't know if my friend heard that about the covenants. The covenants aren't like described.
Okay, he probably missed the whole thing, so he might have to,
okay.
After the show. But
basically,
basically,
it's pretty simple. I mean, covenants are a pact that is made between God and you. And the question is, when they mention covenants in the Quran, why don't they provide any details? Just like, and Dr. Kufar had mentioned, why don't they tell Muslims why they have to be circumcised? There's nothing in the Quran that explains it. There's nothing there's nothing any place. It just says you need to do it. But where did that start?
yeah, but here's the thing, Paul. The Quran does not say you need to do it. There's nothing in the Quran that says you have to be circumcised or that Abraham was circumcised. So where are Muslims getting the idea that they have to be circumcised? They'll tell you, oh, Abraham, great. Show me in the Quran where Allah says you must be circumcised. I'll wait. I'll get coffee. I'll get a big mug of whatever. Okay. Yes, not just a book. There's lots of books.
And the problem, like, it's even though if it's mentioning the covenant too, like, say there's something corrupted. All right, what's corrupted and what isn't? How do we know this?
Right.
Well, we know they're not corrupted because the Quran in I believe it's chapter 5, verses 44. I think it's the 48. I have to double check that exact citation, but it pretty much says that you have to read the Torah, and it's preserved by Allah because Allah is supposed to be able to preserve His word. Otherwise, He's a wimpy God. And if
Even
it
the
can't
people of the
be,
book have to judge by the books.
yeah. So this is problematic, no matter how you look at it. When a good person calls himself a good Muslim and does not read the Torah, they're not a good Muslim. They are a liar about their faith.
Okay, just for Omar, in the Tanakh, there are 7 covenants that God makes. Let me get rid of some of these screens. Okay, so let me bring it down. I found this and got questions. Okay, so the first covenant that God made was with Adam, and this is the Adamic covenant. Okay, I'm not going to go through everything. I will put the link.
I'll personally send him actually an essay I wrote on the covenants.
Okay, I will put the link in the box so people can. You know what I forgot? I forgot to go to the live thing and check that you had to be a member for 1 minute. But what the heck? So you have the first covenant is the Adamic covenant. Then we go to the Noahic covenant. That was the covenant with God and Noah. Okay. Then, of course, you have the Abrahamic covenant. Okay. Like I said, I'm not going to read all of this. Mm-hmm. After the Abrahamic covenant, you have what is called the Palestinian covenant. I believe that was with Moses.
I wouldn't call that the Palestinian, but that's me.
I know that's what
land covenant, maybe, but
you're right.
There's no Palestine.
You mean the
it
Mosaic?
Doesn't exist, especially in Deuteronomy.
I would say the Mosaic because we know the Deuteronomy.
Yeah, Mosaic covenant, maybe. Okay, because this is Deuteronomy. Right. Land covenant. You could say Israel. I think more accurately would be the Israeli covenant.
Yeah,
we're talking about land covenant. It would be
okay. Wait a minute. I know I misspoke. Next is the Mosaic covenant. So apparently that's separate. So there is a covenant,
and that would be instead of Palestinian, it would be Israeli because there's no Palestine. It doesn't. Palestine doesn't exist back in the Old Testament.
Right. Now, I honestly I don't know why God got questions. It's usually
because they're working with Muslims. They have to please them.
I mean, it could be. So you have the Mosaic, then you have the covenant between God and King David, the Davidic covenant. And then the last one, I missed the most important one. That is the covenant with Jesus,
the new covenant.
Which is the new covenant. So there's 7 covenants. Now the Quran, like I said, it throws around covenants left and right, but we have no clue what the covenants are. All right, so let me.
No details.
No details. The Quran is. I am a Muslim and I really don't know why I'm circumcised. Well, I mean, you're circumcised, Omar, because your parents did it to you. Now, most of the time, what happened is you get circumcised depending on what country you live in, because not all countries is it a requirement. But a lot of times it was done strictly for, you could say, medical reasons or
hygiene.
Yeah, and I'm glad that I'm not part of the countries that circumcise females too.
That's
it's interesting that most countries don't have it as a national policy. I would say that's rare, and it's more of a cultural aspect, and unfortunately, that is not entirely Islamic.
Right. Okay. So now that we've gotten the Bible verse of the Quran on Abraham, let's go back to what we really do here. And what we do here is we dissect the Quran. That's why the show is called Dissecting the Quran series. And we left off on chapter 17, the chapter of the Thunder. And we're in verse 59. Allah has no clue what the covenants are that keeps. Yeah, of course he doesn't. And yes, welcome, Omar. Okay. I hope you get to see what we're trying to do. We're trying to show Muslims, and not just Muslims, we're trying to show people how to do, what would you call it, Paul? Critical analysis?
He's also
critical thinking.
he's also a Quran only, so it's in the light of exactly what you're working on.
Oh, okay. This
So
is even better. This is even better for Quran only or Quranists because they don't have the they
yeah,
don't go through the hadiths or
we
the
in
tafsirs.
general we don't go to the hadiths and we don't
Yeah.
go to the tafsirs,
Well,
and
we
we're
would never.
doing that on purpose because if you only have the Quran, which is supposed to be perfect, it's supposed to be clear. The question is it actually perfect? And is it clear? And if you
Right.
ask these questions that we're asking, you'll hear us. What we're going to do a think out loud, basically.
Right.
If you're working with kids, you'll hear that think aloud. What is it? Yeah, and that's what we're doing.
And one more time to mention it, even though that contradicts with chapter 3, verse 7, how some are clear, some are precise, but not all.
Right. I mean, this is why I believe, based on my studies and other people's studies like Jay Smith and Odin LaFontaine and so forth, is that the Quran was something that Islam itself didn't really start until the 8th century, around 749, 750, when the Abbasids beat the crap out of the Umayyads. This is where you start seeing everything about Islam, everything about Muhammad. And Eric Smith, I'm going to see if I can get him to give me that slideshow. Eric Smith did a really good job on his show with the slides from Jay Smith from the class that he took. I may have to take one of his classes. And basically, you see the first autobiography or biography of Muhammad, which doesn't exist, was in the 8th century. And then you get I guess you get the official bio from, what is it, Ibn Hisham? And
I
that
think
was
that's
like,
right. Yeah.
that was like 180 something years after the date that we're told that Muhammad lived and died. Then, of course, you get the hadiths, which were 200 plus years afterwards. Now, and here's the other funny thing. None of these people come from anywhere near Mecca or Medina. We're talking hundreds and hundreds of miles, some of them even thousands of miles, like Bukhari. Okay, and then you get the tafsirs, which come over 300 years later. So you have nothing that goes back to the time of Muhammad. It's all
Or
but
even
we
close to the time of Muhammad.
right.
I mean, the book of Matthew, Jesus dies around 30, 33,
Yes.
36 AD, depending on how the years are set. It would be, if it's set in the year Jesus, if BC 0 is the year Jesus born, he
Let's say
dies at the age of
33 is
33.
the yeah. Let's
And
say
Matthew
33
was
AD.
written around 40, around mid 40s.
Right.
And,
So we're only, I mean, that's the first biography of Jesus with the first gospel, and that's why it's the first gospel in the New
Yeah.
Testament. And you just,
I
yeah.
just add one more thing. The Quran, Omar, that they're reading from, it's a translation by an Egyptian. So that's that means a lot to him to know that.
Omar is he Egyptian?
We're pretty much all of us are.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. We use a translation that's called the Generous Quran. And I think Osama is very generous with the translation. And he's from Egypt. So this is his translation. And every now and then we double check other translations, but they're pretty much the same. And he's got a soft spot for Allah. I probably would, my translation would be totally different.
Well,
Okay.
and Osama is revising, and
Right.
he's not saying he's a perfect person, so he keeps working on making it better. So
Right.
he's in the currently revised. I think this is the third revision. So yeah.
Okay. Well, cool. I hope it comes out soon. Okay, so let's get back to work. All right. So according to Osama, Muhammad did not perform any sign. And you can see all these different verses. Okay. Now Muslims like to tell you that Muhammad had miracles, right? But that's a lie, because according to the Quran and according to Allah, Muhammad wasn't given any miracles or any signs, except Muslims will tell you the Quran was his miracle. Now, I'm sorry. If the Quran is his miracle, I'd want my money back. Okay. So here we are, verse 59. And nothing prevented us from sending the signs except that the ancients denied them, and we gave the camel to the people of Tammuz, a visible, what's number nine, miracle. Okay, so and we gave the camel to Tammuz, a visible miracle, so they treated her unjustly, and we do not send with the signs except to make fear.
So we don't know what the signs are, except that he's claiming that giving a camel to these people is a sign.
Right. The camel was supposed to be, the she camel was supposed to be a miracle or a sign given to the people of Tammuz. And I'm trying to think who the prophet was.
That sounds like a singular sign. That's what
Yeah.
he's talking about
know.
plural signs.
I can't remember if it was Prophet Hud or Prophet Salib, but anyway. So Allah is saying, hey, I used to send signs in the past, because I think what happened was the Meccans, the Mushriks, the polytheists, they were questioning Muhammad, his prophethood. Like, hey, all the other prophets before you, they had signs and miracles. Where's yours? So this is Allah saying, hey, nothing prevented me from sending you the signs, except that the ancients, they denied them. So you know what? I'm all out of miracles. I'm not going to send you any more. You saw what they did to the camel. They beat her. I think they killed her too. And we do not send. So now Allah does not send signs except to make people fear. And when we said to you, now I'm assuming this is Allah, surely your Lord surrounds the people. Okay, an incomplete sentence. Surely your Lord surrounds the people, and what? Do they play patty cake? We don't know. So this would be an incomplete sentence. And we did not ordain division, which we showed you, except a sedition.
Again, sorry about this, Nace. Again, it's not talking about which vision. If it's talking about the one that's in the night, or a different vision without any translation or any tafsir or hadith, zero clue.
Are you saying that this is not clear?
Oh, and I made a mistake. I'm sorry. This is not the chapter of the thunder. This is the chapter of the night journey. The thunder was the last one.
We haven't gotten to the night journey yet, have we?
Yeah. Huh?
We haven't gotten to the night journey yet, have we?
I thought this was the night journey.
Oh, this is
because the next chapter is the one where Allah, the all-knowing Allah, doesn't know how many people are in the cave. It's Surah Al-Kahf. And the Romans are going to be victorious sometime between 3 and 9 years. Allah can't be precise, so don't worry about it. Sometime between 3 and 9 years, they're going to be victorious, but we don't know who they're fighting. Okay, so and when we said to you, surely your Lord surrounds the people, and we did not ordain the vision. We don't know what vision, which we showed you, except a sedition. Where's my sedition for the people, and the cursed tree in the Quran. What cursed tree?
It doesn't even make sense. So we have Allah ordains a vision which he shows, but nobody knows what it is. Except we don't know what he's talking about sedition for people. We don't know who those people are. We don't know what this cursed tree is about.
Right.
I mean, the analysis here of this is just so lacking in details. Like I said, it's a con man show. You make a broad statement, and people will believe it to mean anything they want it to believe, and personalize it.
If you look at just the example that I gave earlier about the details about Abraham's life in Genesis versus what we're reading here, I honestly don't know what the heck I'm reading. I know I'm reading the chapter of the night journey, which starts off by, we don't know who the servant is. We don't know where the mosques are at. We know one is forbidden. Okay, and the other one is the farthest mosque. What does that even mean? Allah couldn't say Jerusalem? Allah couldn't say Mecca?
And why is a mosque forbidden if you're supposed to go to it?
Well, it's probably it's forbidden for the non-Muslims.
Oh wait,
But we
but
know
does it tell us that?
But we know
Right?
that at the time of Muhammad, there was no mosque in Jerusalem.
Yes.
I mean, the mosque wasn't built until 705 AD by Caliph Malik, the 10th caliph.
So there's a lot of problems with this.
Yeah. Okay. So Allah commands the angels to worship Adam again. Now, there's at least seven different surahs where we read the same thing, but every time there's an embellishment. You know, it's like the detective put the 7 people in different rooms and he asked them about Allah and Adam, and you got 7 different stories. Okay,
And
so
they don't line up.
Well, I mean, they do line up, except that you get more details.
You should get more details.
It's almost like, here's the funny thing. The people that should know the details, which are the people that lived during that time, you'll notice that as you go further away from the time of Muhammad, the stories get more embellished. There's more details. So the people who actually were around Muhammad didn't know the details that people 300-400 years later knew. How did that happen? That's the Chinese whisper game, the telephone game. You embellish, you make it better. Okay, so 61. Now this one gets funny. And when we said to the angels, so now we clearly see that Allah is speaking to who? The angels. Now here's what I like to do. When I'm reading something, I like to find out who is the audience and who is the speaker, right? It's very important. So we know that somebody, I'm going to say Allah, is speaking to the angels. And Allah says, worship Adam, which is a big no-no, because you're not supposed to worship a creation. Adam is a creation. So the angels, they worshiped except the devil. He said, will I worship him that you have created of mud? Okay. So Iblis is saying, why should I worship this guy? You made him from mud. Verse 62, he said, which...
Wait. So what Allah is using the word we. We said to the angels, worship Adam. What I thought only Allah was allowed to be worshipped, or it was called shirk, and it's supposed to be the most horrible crime.
Yeah, they jump over it, but there's no way to put it, because if you're comparing, for example, the Bible to it, and how John, for example, bowed down to the angel, and the angel rebuked him, saying,
right,
like God, but then now you're kind of seeing a double standard here, and Adam's not like saying anything.
Well, it's worse. Okay, it's not just Adam not saying anything; it's the one who's saying no.
It's
According to this, Satan is better than Allah.
Now, let me ask Leah, since she's an Arabic speaker. In verse 61, should that have been translated to worship? Because most translations will say prostrate.
I'll check it for you. You can continue, but because I can pull it up here.
Okay. So they worshiped except the devil, which is Iblis. He said, well, I worship him that you have created of mud. He said, now here's another thing, Paul. It starts off with we said, right?
Yes.
And then it jumps to he. Third person singular. Correct?
Yes.
So it's like bowing down.
No. First person plural. We is first person plural.
No. He. It jumped from we to he.
Okay, third. Okay, yeah. We. So we're first person
Right,
plural.
so,
third person singular.
Right. So Allah starts speaking with we, and then he goes to he.
No. Okay, no, because that's the third person singular is will I, and that is the devil speaking.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. You're correct. But I okay. What I meant to say is 62 should be Allah speaking.
No, that is a.
Is that
It's
he
still
said?
a devil, I think.
Did I show you this which you have honored above me?
Oh, now that is confusing.
Yeah.
You're right.
If you delay me until the resurrection day, I will surely. Okay, I think this
That
is
is the
still.
devil. That is the
Yeah, it's
devil.
still the devil. So the devil saying, he said, did I show you this? Did I show you this which you have honored above me? I don't understand why.
So he's saying that the Adam is honored above him.
Okay. And then all of a sudden it jumps. If you delay me until resurrection day,
What is he getting delayed from doing? I mean, worshiping.
And it doesn't make sense. Right after that, he says, "Okay, okay. Did I show you that which you have honored above me?"
To jump back to the worshiping part, it's not talking about prostrating, like, it's not like you're just bowing down. No, it's completely going down to the ground.
Which would be a form of worship.
Yep.
That is what is called obeisance. Prostrating yourself.
And it's not like the I guess in like Asian culture where you greet each other. It's not like that. It's full blown, like, this is, reverence in a deity way.
Now, 62 is confusing, because if this is the devil, I don't understand what the devil is saying. Did I show you this?
He's trying to make a deal.
Which you have honored above me. Okay. And then it jumps to something that really doesn't flow. If you delay me until the resurrection day, I will surely sway his offspring, except for a few.
He's going to talk. He's talking here about tempting all of mankind.
Okay. Now this is definitely Allah speaking. He said,
but wait, it says he said. You wouldn't expect that.
Right. See, Allah goes between. Allah's kind of like a swinger.
he can't tell if he's a first person plural or a third person or a second person or what.
He goes from we to he to ours, ourselves. I mean, the guy's all over the place. He said, "Be gone." So whoever of them follows you, so surely hell will be your reward, and an ample reward.
Wait a minute. When you give something, you give a reward to somebody who does something good. You give a punishment to someone who does something bad.
Right.
So he's rewarding Allah with what he thinks is. Does Allah not know what the difference is between? Well, again, Allah's the one who likes to do torture, so maybe that's his idea.
Here's something that's very interesting. In 63, we clearly see that the devil was kicked out of the garden, right? But we later find out that the devil tempted Adam and Eve, but he was kicked out. So did he come back? Now, I've had Muslims tell me, or no, it was Usama told us last time, because we read this before, that the Muslims say that the devil was at the door of heaven. So he didn't step into the garden. He was at the door, and he was, whispering into Eve to eat of the tree. I mean, that's like, seriously, guys.
All right.
So 64, wow. And entice such of them as you can with your voice, and assault them with your horsemen and your footmen. Whoa, the devil's got an army with horses and cavalry. Oh man, this is amazing. Be their partner in the money and the children, and make them promises. But Satan will not promise them anything except pride. All right, so now I learned that
we don't really understand anything about that, do we? There's supposed to be some imaginary army here. You got horses and you got footmen. I mean, it could be soldiers, I'm guessing, but it almost sounds like people who would be subservient. Their partner in money. What's this money partnership?
I don't know. Okay, 65. Surely you will have no authority over my servants. We read this earlier. And your Lord will be their sufficient guardian. So if Allah is the one who's guarding his servants, how did Satan guide some of them away from Allah? Oh yeah, because Allah gave him permission to do so.
And it sounds like there's a select amount of servants.
Right. We don't know how many or what. But clearly we see in 65 that Allah is saying, Satan, you have no authority over my servants. But yet we know that he does with Allah's permission, because he had Muhammad speak the satanic verses to the Qurayshi tribe when he spoke about the three daughters of the the cranes that go and intercede or send the prayers to Allah. Okay, 66. Your Lord is the one who drives the ships for you in the sea so that you may seek of his bounty. Surely he was merciful to you. Okay, now we know that Muhammad, unless he went into the shores, these people wouldn't know what a ship was.
I guess they thought the camels were ships. I don't know.
I mean,
it's
it
kind of
could be.
confusing.
I mean, you do drive the camels. Not sure how you drive the ships, but nowadays, you could steer the ships. I don't know why it says drives, because you don't drive a ship, you steer a ship. But hey, who am I to speak? I'm not Allah. And if the harm touches you in the sea, all those you call on will go astray except him.
What does that mean?
I have no clue. And who's him? Allah?
And if the harm
Is
touches
Allah
you,
not going to go?
so if you die when you're in the ocean, then all those you call on will go astray, except who?
Well, I guess he's trying to say that if you call on the idols or the other gods, they're going to go astray except Allah. I'm going to do my own tafsir. This is tafsir Dr. Kufar.
This is, again, clear as mud, unfortunately.
Right. So when he delivers you to the shore, you turn away, and the human was infidel. That makes no sense.
That's not even a clear thought. We can't even call it a complete thought.
So just for Omar, for his sake, what we're trying to do, Omar, is we're trying to show how the Quran makes no sense. The writer or writers, I believe there is multiple writers.
Kufar, I don't think that's the point, though. And we're not necessarily trying to show it. It's showing itself.
Right. So we're trying to show that when you write something so that it flows, so that the thoughts flow. But when you read the Quran, it jumps all over the place. Now, Omar is saying in Arabic, the word means kneel. Yeah, kneel, prostrate.
No, to yusgud, yeah, it's pretty much like
prostrate is really what it means.
It's not just bowing down. It's fully going on on the floor.
Yeah, the closest we have in English would probably be the concept of obeisance.
Okay, so we know that when he delivers you to the shore, you turn away, and the human was infidel. So only one human was an infidel. Interesting. Okay, 68. Have you believed in? Believed in what? That he causes you to sink under the side of the shore, or will you send a
Hey, Kufar, forgive me for a second here. If we go back to 67, so you have he delivers you to the shore, you turn away, and the human. So all the other things were not human?
I guess not. So the ship was full of inhumans, and only one human became an infidel, or was an infidel.
There was only one human on there.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay, have you believed in that he causes you to sink under the side of the shore? I don't know what that means. Or will you send a sandstorm on you?
So I guess he's talking about quicksand.
So this is not Allah speaking. Okay, I added something to it because this definitely makes no sense. That he causes you to sink under the side of the shore, or will send a sandstorm on you. So he's either going to cause you to sink under the shore, or he's going to send a sandstorm on you. Then you will not find for yourself a guardian. Okay.
It's really confusing. It doesn't. I mean, there's nothing here that makes any. There's no clarity here. There's nothing that makes any sense.
Well, see, look, even Omar says he never understood that part. So see, we're not alone because I believe he's an Arabic speaker, right, Leah?
He is, and do me a favor. I'm gonna send you this. Copy paste the original, the simple verb of prostrating, pretty much in Arabic. Google it. Show them an image of what pops up, and it's what you were saying. It's pretty much.
So you want me to? Okay, so you want me to use Google Translate on the Arabic?
No, just
copy paste what I sent. It's the word, and then you can Google it and show the words from it itself, because they're saying like in a like adjective, not the, I think the verb where they're doing it in plural, but this is just like the simple form of the word. And once you Google it, you're gonna see the entire action itself when they're on the floor, just to prove the point that it's not just bowing, but it's completely on the floor with head down.
All right, let's see what you got. All right, private chat.
I've got it, Kufar. Let me just pull it up.
Okay, and then share your screen, and I'll.
Yeah, I'll be right there. Just a second.
So that way I won't have to get out of my screen. Okay, because I'm not on my regular computer where I have all my bookmarks. Let me go back. Actually, we might go to 8 o'clock.
Okay, and I'll be right there. Just a second.
Okay, while you're doing that, to 69.
All right, I'm kind of sharing just now. All right, just get the screen up and we're all set.
Don't see anything to share yet.
There we go.
Oh, okay, so now you're down here in the bottom. Add to stream. Okay.
Not Google Translate. I meant the image.
Oh.
Sorry about that. You meant the image.
You can see there it translates prostrate. So you're laying straight. Prostrate means you lay face down.
Yeah. If you blow it up, they can see the Arabic on the left.
Okay, I can do that.
Everyone can Google it, and they can see also a bunch of pictures of people, their head fully on the floor.
See the Arabic?
Oh, okay. So you were saying just if you just type that in a Google search, not in a Google Translate. Okay, but Google Translate shows you that it's prostrate.
Okay. Does that help?
I could show you in the camera how I did it when I was a Muslim. I'm just shy. Okay. All right, let me go back here. And we were on number 70. Okay, 70. Let me pull it up. Okay, 70. And indeed, we have honored the children of Adam. But we don't know who's the children of Adam because he never told us. We have carried them on the land and the sea. I don't know if Adam ever went to the sea, but that's okay.
We're talking about they rode something, like some kind of...
I guess Adam had a ship. Okay.
On the ship.
I think he's confusing. You know what I think? I think he's confusing Adam with Noah, because we know Noah was in the sea.
Well, it's not too surprising. He can't get any
straight,
unfortunately.
I'm not aware of Adam, taking any trips.
But then earlier in this chapter, he was saying that he was annihilating after Noah, if you remember yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had Abraham coming from. He had Noah being one of Abraham's children.
Right.
Oh my gosh, this guy gets so many things wrong.
We have honored the children of Adam. We have carried them on the land and the sea, and we have provided for them the good things. We don't know what these good things are. And we favored them above many of the creatures with a favor. What was that favor? Now, it would make sense that a human would be favored above an animal. I got no problem with that. So I don't understand why I have to be told that Allah favored Adam and his children above above creatures with a favor. No idea what that favor is. Only one favor?
You would have to put your own definition into it, pretty much saying whatever comes to mind. The same way it says give your parents generous words in the same chapter. And
but Allah sounds to be like a stingy guy here. One favor? That was it? Okay, then it goes into a day we will call a day we will call all humans with their leaders. So whoever receives his book by his right hand. Now I believe there's another verse in the Quran that says you're going to get the book on your left hand. So that'll be a contradiction, but we haven't gotten there yet. So on the day, Allah's going to call all humans with their leaders. Hey, is President Trump going to be there? So whoever receives his book by his right hand, so those will read their books and not be treated unjustly, even a thread. I have no idea what that
thread?
means.
What are we talking about? What thread?
I don't know.
I mean,
And
is this the thread you hold up to see if you can eat or not eat?
Now here's an interesting thing. How I guess if you're blind, when you go on Judgment Day, you won't be blind because clearly you won't be able to read. Maybe that's what 72 here is explaining. And whoever was blind in this, so he will be blind in the hereafter and will be more astray from the way. I don't know.
So this the blind don't get healed.
His interpretation is just as good as like what I'm about to say, which is pretty much maybe it's meaning blind in the sense of following Allah's commandments. Here, so same thing.
See, but here's the beauty: we can make this make more sense than Allah. So if we can do that, that means we can meet Allah's 4 challenges in the Quran. You know, write a surah, write 10 surahs, write a Quran, do a recitation.
One of them was write a book. I've written several.
Right, the Quran. Okay.
Mine are more clear.
Okay, before I read 73, let me just take a peek and see what number 10 is. Another revelation. Okay. And they were about to seduce you from what we reveal to you and cause you to forge against us. Uh-oh. Wait a minute. Isn't Allah one?
Well, he doesn't know if he's one or a plural because he keeps mixing up the pronouns.
Paul, is there a royal us?
You know what? I think Allah needs to have this discussion. Which is his pronoun?
Hey, he would fit right in with today's society. Okay, so okay, and they were about to seduce you from what we reveal to you and cause you to forge against us another revelation, and then they would surely have taken you a friend. Okay.
Was that clear at all?
No. 74. And were it not that we strengthen you, you would indeed have been inclined a little something toward them.
Strengthened in what factor? Are we talking about strength spiritually? Or are we talking about, get out there and pump iron? I mean,
now, shouldn't this be towards so that it matches them?
The thing with it is, you read the Bible to understand what's being written in the story, but then you read this
you read the Quran to get confused
what the other people are saying about it.
This is why it can't survive critical analysis.
I read the Quran so I can get confused, basically, because that's
we don't feel any brighter when we're done. We feel dumber, unfortunately.
We feel dumber. Thank God that God renews my brain cells, because okay, 75. Then we cause you to taste of double life and of double death. Okay, so you're going to live twice and die twice.
Are they into reincarnation now?
I guess, could be. Then you will not find a helper for you against us. Okay.
Again, maybe the Hindus, the argument I've seen from the Hindus that say they're the ones who established the Kaaba.
All right. Well, let me see.
So maybe there's something to that.
Let me see something here. What verse? What verse? That's 75. I want to go to Corpus Quran just out of curiosity. 17. What did I say? 75?
75.
Just curious to see what it says. 75. No, come on, dude. You want 75, not 76. Okay, let's go. Let's do word for word. Idhan, we would have made you taste double life. Wadifa and double after death, then not. You would have found for you against us. First person plural. Okay.
All right. Allah doesn't know his own pronouns.
Yeah, but here's the problem. Plural in Arabic is at least 3.
Wait. Oh, so are we saying Allah is now a Trinity or something else?
I don't know.
Wait, Allah could be many gods.
Because my understanding is in Arabic, you have singular, you have dual, which means two,
Yeah.
and then you have plural, which is three or more. And according to corpusquran.com, the word is a plural. So it's at least three. So he's got two other buddies.
Which is
Let's see. I know he's got a buddy called Muhammad.
Yeah.
Or is it the other way around that Muhammad has a buddy that he...
Yeah, I think Allah, according to Aisha, Allah is Muhammad's sock puppet because he always comes to his rescue. Okay, 76. And that they were about to provoke you to get out of the land. Okay, who's he talking about? Provoking who? Who's the you?
I remember saying he gave a camel to a land. One verse, a few verses
Yeah,
back.
he did, but we haven't even heard anything about them since then.
Yeah, that was the camel that was given to the people of Talmud. Okay.
Wow.
And they will not stand behind you except a little. What the hell does that even mean? I'm going to stand behind you just a little. Okay.
Well, I mean, I'll say this. If you're standing behind somebody, usually somebody is protecting you. They will not stand. And if you're not standing behind them, it's because you don't trust them.
You might not be standing behind him because he might be like Shaitan and
And maybe a little like he's gonna remove the person who he's standing behind and remove him.
All right, 77. Custom of whom we sent before you from our messengers, and you will not find to our custom alteration. What the hell does that mean? I think Allah has a second job as a tailor. He likes to do alterations, which is okay. I mean,
well, he does do this thing called abrogation, where he says these verses don't count anymore.
But what was the custom of the people that we sent before you?
I don't know. It might be alluding to the sunnah, which is what it says in the actual Arabic for the first word there, meaning like the traditions of the prophet.
Right, but what would be those traditions or those customs? Because we don't know, because he doesn't say. Apparently, there was a custom or tradition or a sunnah from the other messengers, but he says, "And you will not find our custom alteration." Okay. 78. Perform the prayer from sundown until the darkness of the night, and the Quran of the dawn. What does that even mean?
What is the Quran of the dawn?
I have no clue. Surely the Quran of the dawn was witnessed. What
doesn't sound like it's been witnessed to.
But again, there was no Quran at the time of Muhammad. He was just receiving revelation, supposedly. Allegedly is the new word that I like to use. Allegedly, he was receiving revelation from allegedly Jibreel, which we know that's not true. But what does it mean? Surely the Quran of the dawn was witnessed. Witnessed by who? How do you witness revelation?
You bear
Unless
false
you write it
witness?
down. Okay. 79. And during part of the night, so pray with it as an extra ordinance to you. Perhaps your Lord will raise you to a praised position. Again, why does Allah speak in the perhaps?
Because Allah is the God of perhaps.
I mean, doesn't Allah know if he's going to do something or not?
And again, we get this word praise, and Allah doesn't seem to know what it means.
Okay, during part of the night. What part of the night? Night is usually 12 hours long. What part? So pray with it an extra ordinance to you. Are you supposed to pray with the Quran? Is that what is he saying? But again, you can't pray with the Quran. It did not exist until 634. Okay, let's go to 80. So now this is supposedly Allah telling somebody, and say, my Lord, admit me with a truthful entry, and get me out with a truthful exit, and grant me an authority to help. Help who? And say, the truth came, and the vanity has vanished. Surely the vanity was vanishing. Now that's good
That's really
poetry right there.
confusing.
That's very, that kind of rhymes. The vanity was vanishing. But we're not, this is supposed to
The
be
truth came, the
revelation.
vanity has vanished. Okay, so if it's gone, why are you repeating? And you're saying now it's still disappearing.
I mean, this is supposed to be revelation from God, but I swear, maybe I need to learn how to recite the Quran in Arabic, because then I would be singing like a bird.
The thing with it is, even if it rhymes, it's not making any sense, whether in Arabic or in English. Like these passages, especially.
Right, but Leia, you've seen. I've seen. As a matter of fact, there was one. I guess he was a sheikh or an imam. He made a big boo boo. He picked a non-Muslim, and he said, "I'm going to recite." Right, and the guy had to pick which one sounded better, and he thought the guy was going to pick the recitation of the Quran, and guess what? The person picked the recitation that wasn't from the Quran, so it didn't quite go his way. Okay, 82. And we sent down from the Quran what is a healing and a mercy to the believers, and will not increase the unjust except the lost. Okay, now I got it.
We don't know what it's healing.
Right.
You don't know what's
sent
sent down either.
Okay, we sent down from the Quran. Okay, so Allah is telling me, this is my tafsir, Dr. Kufar, that he's sending down from the original Quran that's in his iPad in the seventh heaven. Okay.
Okay, so he's sending he's sending down bricks. What is he sending down?
The real Quran, he's sending down Jibril with a 16 gigabyte USB card.
And trying to install it in somebody who's not sane, because it doesn't look very clear.
He's trying to install Android on an iPhone. Okay, again, what does he mean? We sent down from the Quran. It should say, and we revealed from the Quran what is healing and their mercy to the believers.
See, hold on, which verse is that again? I'm going to get it in the Arabic.
This is verse 82.
82, okay.
Yeah, verse 82. And we sent down from the Quran, which we know didn't exist. So I'm assuming it's the Quran that's in the, I don't know the name in Arabic, but it's the tablets. It's Allah's tablets. What is a healing and a mercy to the believers, and will not increase the unjust except a loss. Okay. So it's not going to be a healing for the unbelievers. It's going to be a loss. Okay. 83. And when we graced on the human, he withdraws and goes aside. And when evil touches him, he was in despair. Okay. All right.
The thing with it is, it's saying like send as in current, like currently sending, like in the present act of it, pretty much. We send down, not even sent in the past.
Say it again. And we.
It's in the present too.
Right.
That's why he said. That's why he put sent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Present tense.
So he's doing the actions. It's still occurring. So
yeah.
I guess that's why Muslims say the Quran was sent down in 23 years. I don't think.
And reinterpret it as revealed would pretty much makes sense.
This would kind of mean if we read this and it's still in present tense, we could almost say that it's still occurring.
Right. But here's the thing. Throughout the Quran, it's alluded that the Quran is a book, that Allah sent down a book. He sent down a book to Moses. He sent down a book to Isa. He sent down
Has anybody seen these books?
Ding, 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 continuous tense. Yeah. That's Allah. Okay. And when we graced on the humans, he withdraws and goes aside. When evil touches him, he was in despair. Okay. Say, everyone acts after his own manner. So your Lord knows best who is in the best guided way. Well, we all know that.
Who is he talking to?
I have no clue. Muhammad, I guess.
We don't even know who's talking here, do we? Is it Muhammad?
Well, this is Allah, because when it says say or kul, whatever, that means Allah's telling the person to say this. So Allah's telling somebody to say everyone acts in his own manner. So your Lord knows best who is in the best guided way.
So Allah doesn't know what the best guided way is, except by watching how people behave?
Yeah, pretty much so. And they ask you about this spirits, okay, say the spirit is of the affair of my Lord, and you did not receive from knowledge except a little. Now, I'm sorry, that does not explain. They asked him about the spirit. Nothing in what he said explains the spirit.
Well, we
Except the
don't
spirit
expect him
is
to
of
make
the
common
affair of my
sense.
Lord. So basically, he's saying, yo, dude, I can't tell you what the spirit is. I can just tell you it has to do with my Lord.
And
Oh,
So
this
you
is
figure it
the
out.
check out.
again, these are the words of a con man. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You put this out here, you make these broad statements. We see this in politicians. They just talk around things. They don't exactly address it. And that's exactly what we just saw here.
Omar added a comment here. I'm not sure which verse he's referring to. He says, when he says we about himself, means that it means more strong and more great in Arabic. No, because it's plural, and you can't, for example, say that um the one argument where they say like how the king or the queen they say we decided or something. It means like it's still a unified decision of more than one person, which makes no sense from a one as the Quran states.
Okay, the royal we just actually comes from a Christian belief
Mhm.
that they got their position as God ordained. So when they use we, they are referring to themselves and God. So if they're using the royal we, they're referring to themselves and God. Then we have a problem, and according to Islam, because now Allah is committing an act of shirk.
Not just that, he's saying here when you say we, when you talk plural, it just means that in
And
Arabic.
that's what I'm saying. I'm saying I'm agreeing with you. He's I know what he's saying, but he's ignoring the fact that Allah is committing shirk.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say too.
Okay, so where were we? Okay, so 86 again. This is the God who doesn't know anything. And if we will, okay, Allah maybe he doesn't know. We surely take away that which we revealed to you. Now, at least he kept it consistent, Paul. He used we throughout the whole sentence.
Wow, that's a
We
first.
didn't jump from we to he to us. Okay. Then you will not find to you by it a guardian against us. Oh, he jumped back into the us. But
Okay,
that
well
doesn't make
that's
sense.
still plural, so it's first person
Yeah,
plural still.
that doesn't make sense. Then you will not find to you. What does that mean? Find to you. By it a guardian against us. Okay,
What
I have
is
no
the
clue.
it? As I guess I'm trying to figure out if we will sure take away that which revealed to you.
I'm
Well, that's
assuming
fine.
the
This
it
is
would
really confusing.
I'm assuming the it would be the idols, but that's just my tafsir, so don't quote me on it. Okay. 87. This is where Osama comes in handy. He has fun. So 87. Accept a mercy from your Lord. Surely his bounty on you was big. Okay. All right. Okay. Here's one of the challenges. Once again, which we had it earlier in the other chat. Once again, the Quran claims that no one can write a book like it. I
I write
agree.
better. I'm sorry.
I agree. Nobody would dare write such a disjointed, incoherent book as this. And I got to be honest with you.
You know, if I wrote this bad, no one would read what I wrote.
The only reason this book gets published has to be probably for two reasons. One, it's published by a Muslim publisher. And if it's not a Muslim publisher, they're only publishing it because it's claimed to be a holy book. And you don't want to piss off a holy book because otherwise this makes no sense.
But then again, it's funny how it says even if like the humans and jinn gathered, why would even jinn gather to write a holy book?
I don't know.
Explain the difference again. We're talking about angels and jinn. Can you explain that again?
So they say like jinn, and then sometimes like I guess possibly demons. I don't know if I consider them like the species of shaitan. But they're living like humans among humans, just unseen. And they apparently also are Muslim. They apparently also are, I guess, affected when they hear the Quran. But at the same time, I really never understood how are they implying that they're demons? Are they implying that they're regular people? Because some ways, some contexts, it says that, you know, they act more like a demon than that of, like, I guess a regular other Muslim. I don't know if you got what I meant.
Yeah, it's
Um,
where we get into the humor. I mean,
Okay, so 88 say, so this is Allah telling somebody to say, surely if the humans and the jinn gathered so that they might bring forth the likeness of this Quran, but again, there was no Quran. They cannot bring forth the likeness of it, even if they were backing one another. Again, who would want to write a book? But the jinn, their words are in the Quran, so they did. They were
you know
able
what?
to do something.
the
I'll agree with you again. Nobody would do something this bad, so maybe he's right.
The thing with it, I'm sorry to interrupt. I know, Omar, that you're saying that it's a metaphor, but why would that be a metaphor if it's written by a unitary, like one God? It can't, like, if it's just one God, he would directly say him, that it's
And
just
then he
him.
says there's no partners. If
And it
there's no
makes no
partners,
sense
how can there be a plural?
unless it's a trinity, which then makes sense, but it makes absolutely no sense if it's one person and saying that it's we, us, and going back and forth like that.
Yeah, one thing that I found in my, well, heck, I guess 9 years now dealing with Muslims is that they try to use it's a metaphor, it's not literal, it's a parable, but that doesn't
Well,
really work.
okay, so here's the biggest problem with that. If you talk to any Islamic scholar today, you ask them, are there any metaphors in the Quran? They will tell you no. They will say it's a literal book.
Yeah.
So anybody who's telling you there are metaphors in the Quran, they are going against the Ummah that declares it has to be literally translated. So to say this again is to go against the Ummah.
Okay, 89. And indeed, we have expounded to the people in this Quran from every parable. But we still haven't found one coherent parable. So most people reject but infidelity.
What are we talking about? So
I have
people
no clue.
reject, but I mean, I think I'd be rejecting everything but infidelity at this point if
So
I'm following this book. I don't want it. I'm proud infidel according against Islam.
So if Allah has expounded to the people in this Quran, it would have to mean that either he's talking about the Quran that's with him, or this was written afterwards when the Quran was already compiled together. And we know that Abu Bakr put together the first Quran, and then Uthman decided that he wanted to put his own version together and burn all the rest. I call that BS, but that's okay. I guarantee you, most Muslims don't know that the reading a book that was canonized in 1924, then again in 1935, 36, and then it became official by the King of Saudi Arabia in like 1985. So the Quran's really not that old. Okay. And they said, we will not believe you until you gush a spring from the earth. Oh, they challenging Allah. Okay. Or a garden of palm trees and grapes will be yours.
Wait. I want to go back just for a second. Did we just talk about water coming up from the earth? So is this the
Yes.
first time we're actually talking about water on the earth versus under it?
Well, unless you're talking about the rivers that flow underneath, but that's, oh no, but wait a minute, that's in Jannah, so that's not on the earth.
Yeah,
That's
but
in
they're
heaven.
always talking about water under the earth. So
Right.
yeah.
And then also the grapes, in the
Yeah,
middle of the desert.
where did Muhammad find grapes in Mecca or Medina? I don't know. So you gush the rivers gushing through it. So you gush the rivers gushing through it. What the hell does that mean?
He's basically saying when pigs fly.
Okay. All right.
So there's
How
no grapes and when okay, a garden with palm trees. So in grapes, yeah, when pigs fly.
I mean, how do you gush a spring from the earth? Does that mean like digging?
Well,
You
if
dig
you've
until you hit
ever
water?
seen something like a geyser,
Maybe he's talking about what happened with Moses.
Okay. Yeah, and he hit the rocks
well, in
in the water.
Yellowstone, we have something called geysers. I mean, the water gets so hot, it springs up from under the ground. We have something called Old Faithful in Yellowstone.
But
And
that's a natural phenomenon, though.
yeah, but
Yeah.
again, I can't expect Allah to understand that, but that's something that we've seen. If you live in the States, you can see it. Or if you want to be someone who looks on
Okay.
YouTube, that's another way. But
Well, here's a cosmological problem here in verse 92. Or you make the heavens to fall on us in pieces, as you claim, or you bring Allah and the angels to face us. Well, first of all, whoever wrote this believes that the sky is solid. Man, sky ain't solid. The heavens ain't, space is not solid. It does not break up in pieces and fall on anybody.
Maybe it's referring to Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yep.
okay, I know there's this
Yeah,
little
I mean,
chicken called Penny Penny,
I'm trying to
and he's
give it the
running
benefit of the
around,
doubt.
and he's saying the sky is falling.
but that's not the heavens coming into pieces. But I mean, you could say, but wait a minute. But didn't we read that it was clay? It was it was clay that came down on top of Sodom and Gomorrah, which again,
We said wet clay.
yeah.
We saw, different versions of it. Depends on which version you read of the story of Lot.
But here's the thing.
Give me the verse. Do you remember the verse or you don't?
No, I don't
Okay,
remember.
I'll find it.
Here,
Yeah,
but here's the
there's like
problem.
5 different tellings, I think, of Lot, and
But
it's
here's
always
the
something different. We have rain. We have mud, different kinds of mud.
But here's the problem. Nowhere in the Quran are we made aware that Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed. There's no mention of
Well,
what.
it's not destroyed if it's rain or mud.
Right, but I'm saying you don't know what cities Allah destroyed. You do in the Bible.
Yes.
Very clear. Okay. The clear Quran, yes. Okay. Or you have a highly embellished house, or you ascend to heaven. What does that mean?
Well, we have all these ors. You only have to make one of them true for all of it to be true. So we
And
have
we
a
will
garden
not
of palm trees and grapes.
and
You
okay,
have heavens falling,
and
and you
pieces.
a highly embellished house, and then you have you ascending to heaven.
I guess these are all challenges to Muhammad. And we will not believe in your ascension. So clearly, it's got to be talking about Muhammad until you send down on us a book we read. Oh my God, this is poorly written. This violates every norm of grammar. And and until you send down on us, man, that's got to hurt. Allah is abusive.
He's taking a book and smacking someone over the head.
A book we read. Okay, that's you see what I mean, Omar? I'm pretty sure if Omar reads the Arabic, it's still gonna be a mess. Say, praise be to my Lord. Again, this is Allah telling somebody to say, praise be to my Lord.
It's funny because nobody has to be told to praise the God of the Christian.
Now here's funny.
The thing with it is it's also Allah. Yeah, no, just continue.
Now here's funny. Was I accept a human messenger? Did Allah have other messengers that weren't human? I mean, then people know Muhammad was a human.
Wait a minute. It says, was I accept a... Does he... Okay, that...
Did Allah send messengers that weren't? Maybe there's some jinn messengers.
I think Paul is thinking that was I part is from Allah, but the praise be is for whoever Allah is saying to say praise be.
Well,
it just say, so Allah is telling somebody to tell the people, whoever these people are, praise be to my Lord, and then he's telling them, was I accept a human messenger?
So did Allah? Is this telling us that Allah progressed from being human?
Why would you even ask? Was I except a human messenger? Wouldn't the people know that he was a human messenger? What was he? A genie in a
Okay,
bottle?
if Allah's telling Muhammad to say this, and then we have to accept one thing. If Muhammad is a messenger, he can't be a prophet.
Nope, here comes the sex bots. And we're not even talking about sex today. Come on, guys. Okay, and people were not prevented from believing if the guidance came to them, except that they said, has Allah sent a human messenger? Again, this logically implies that Allah has sent non-human messengers. Right?
Scary.
Did Allah send other messengers that weren't human? Now, I understand it was 124,000. Maybe Allah ran out. Maybe he sent some clones. Because why would you say, has Allah sent a human messenger?
Maybe he sent jinn.
Or maybe he sent angels in the past, but I believe that angels have never really come down as messengers. I mean, I could be wrong. We will send down on them an angelic messenger. Hold on a second. Let me go back. Okay, has Allah sent a human messenger? Okay. Say, if there was on earth angels walking in security, I don't know what that means, we will send down on them an angelic messenger. So if angels were walking on the earth, Allah would send an angelic messenger from the heavens to the angels. That's my interpretation.
I guess maybe that's why you got the book of the bees, the book of the table.
Yeah. All right, 96. Again, say, Allah is sufficient witness between me and you. Surely he was aware, seer to his servants.
Whoa. Okay. We have, Allah is a sufficient witness between me and you. Wait, if Allah is a seer, we have a problem. Or is this Muhammad is a seer? And then who are we talking about here? This is actually important. If Allah is a witness between us, and it says surely it would be referring to Allah, correct?
Well, because it's in the sentence that says say, I think it's referring to...
I'm just trying to follow the train of thought. It says Allah is a sufficient witness between me and you. Then that would make the he should refer to Allah. Allah was an aware seer.
Yeah, one more thing too. Omar saying in the comments that it's full of metaphors, but the purpose of metaphors is that you understand some of them. You know.
Again, if the Quran is full of metaphors, then you're violating the Sharia, because the Sharia tells you it is literal. I'm going to keep saying that. You can go to the Sharia and you can find out there is no metaphors in the Quran. That is word for word in Sharia.
And say there is, like, if it's supposed to be clear, you're at least supposed to understand what God's message is to you. But here, like in comparison, you see Jesus saying the parables and expounding on them, and you see in the Old Testament there's some stories that, yes, are metaphorical, but you understand the purpose behind them. Here, we've not understood a single thing unless someone interprets something that's opposite to someone else's interpretation.
If we have Allah saying he's a seer, who is he serving? I mean, a seer. I mean, that's somebody that has to interpret something from a God. True. I mean, if this is supposed to refer to Muhammad, surely he was an aware seer to his servant. It really is not clear there. I mean, it's the third person here refers to the person of Allah.
And like Leah said, even if we gave the metaphor, credibility, it still would have to make sense. And none of this stuff makes sense.
But that alone should tell you if you're saying the Quran is full of metaphors, then like Leah just said, it has to be clarified so you can understand it. Otherwise, it has no value. Metaphors have to be declared. They have to be explained. They're not. A parable is explained. Metaphors should be able to be easily explained. If they can't be, it's garbage. It is not a metaphor. And again, according to the Sharia, according to the scholars, there are no metaphors in the Quran.
Well, and I'm not aware of any Islamic source on that tells us what these metaphors are, or where we can find them. Surely, if that was true, it would be a book. I mean, we have tafsirs.
Can you
There
imagine a
should be
book
some.
called Islamic Metaphors?
I'm sorry.
Oh wow, I think someone would get. I think someone would get killed over that.
Yeah, probably would. That's what I'm saying.
The
I'm not aware.
issue too is he's saying like he's confused to this day. You know, these no one is understanding. No one's understanding. Say it's a very important message that outside of it you'd be like pretty much going to hell over this. Then isn't it important that you would understand what these metaphors mean if it's God sending it to you?
That's the point. You're making exactly. If you can't understand this book is not clear. And that should tell you enough to say, maybe I should leave this faith. Let's see if there's any. You have to make a choice. Do you
But
want to follow
97,
something that's not clear,
right? And in
or
verse
do you want to follow
97,
something that is clear?
in verse 97 contradicts the Muslims' belief in free will. So verse 97 says, and this is throughout the 17 chapters that we've read, and whomever Allah guided, so he is guided, and whomever he leads astray, so he will never find friends from them other than him.
So my friend Omar, Muhammad or Allah is not guiding you. What kind of a God is that chooses not to guide you? You are using your brain.
And Allah,
to add to that, he even guided me away, is what it's saying. So I'm predestined by him.
Yes.
I don't have any free will of my own.
Well said. Thank you.
So myself and Paul and now Leah, it's been written from the time we were, I don't know, 17 weeks in the womb of our mothers. The angel wrote down that we would be doing this show called the Quran Dissecting Channel, and that we would be exposing Allah's favorite book. Ooh. So Muslims, don't blame me. I'm just a messenger. This is what Allah told me to do. Because
you're but a warner.
I'm just a warner with the permission of Allah, because Muslims say the reason that Jesus could make the clay birds and healed the blind and raised the dead was with the permission of Allah. So Allah has given me permission to read the Holy Quran and dissect it. Yeah, well, it's the unholy. To do what I'm doing, to dissect the Quran and show you that Allah was on vacation upstairs when he was revealing this. Or maybe Jabril had one drink too many when he was revealing to Muhammad. Because this book is clear as mud. Okay, we will gather them on the resurrection day on their faces. Okay, so
this is good because we're going back. So this actually clarifies when we're talking about, and they were doing obeisance, they were on their face, they were prostrated. So this actually clarifies that, believe it or not.
We will gather them on the resurrection day on their faces, blind and dumb and deaf. Wow. Hell will be their abode. So as often,
he doesn't like blind people. He doesn't like dumb. I mean, people who can't speak.
No, but
he doesn't like deaf.
So he's going to lead us astray and then gather us at the end, blind, dumb, and deaf.
So I thought leading us astray, isn't that supposed to be a trait of the devil? Oh wait, Allah and the devil are the same person?
They're twins. You didn't know that. They had the same mother. Different fathers, same mother. Hell will be their abode. So as often as it abates, we will increase for them a blaze. So that means Allah's going to make sure that fire is stoked. That's why he created part of the humans and part of the jinn to be fuel for the fire. Now, can you assure me, Muslim, that you're not part of that group of humans that Allah created specifically as firewood for hell? No,
they can't, because they might be predestined to not be sure of being sure that they are destined and sure for hell.
I'm just going to take the words of Sean. Yes, we know the thing.
Yes. Okay, so 98. This is their reward because they became infidels in our verses, and they said, if we become bones and dust, will we be raised a new creation?
Again, we're talking about possible reincarnation belief.
What do you want to be? Do you want to come back as a cow that has milk between the poop and the blood? I mean, who knows?
I mean, if they're
99.
talking about going to heaven, I mean,
I mean,
creation is something something created new.
right.
So you're more talking like reincarnation. You're not talking about going to heaven.
And, and let's face it, come on. Olive failed the study of where milk is produced.
I think you
Yeah,
failed theology.
yeah, he failed everything. And this is why Muslims hate me and they won't debate me. I had a couple Muslims tell me, "Oh, you need to go and debate Sheikh Farouk or Sheikh Uthman." And I'm like, "You want me to go and debate the Sheikh that said angels and jinn are created from water? Are you serious?" I mean, that should be like
Which
a fight.
Uthman, the one that was on God Logic's channel?
Yeah, he's the one that's in. Well, he was in Balboa. I think after he used the footnote and pretended it was part of the Hadith. Now, this is a guy that's supposed to have a master's in Hadith. Didn't know the difference. He didn't know the difference between a footnote from the printing people that printed the book versus an actual Hadith, and he hasn't been back since that time. So. Uh, that's who they want me to debate. Or Mimi Hijab, the one who said, Allah prays to Muhammad, not for Muhammad. Not
Meanwhile, that's
realizing
what
that,
David just.
right. Not realizing that
Sure.
he's saying that Allah prays. You know, the whole premise behind David Wood's argument was the fact that Allah prays. So all Muhammad Hijab could do was say, no, 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 no. See, I had to give you an Arabic lesson. You see, Allah says that he prays to Muhammad, not for Muhammad.
And who's he praying to? Because if he's alone,
Exactly.
transcendent, pretty much.
Exactly. Muslims tell you, no, 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 it doesn't mean pray. It means blessings. But the Arabic word for blessing is barakah. Ali didn't know the word barakah. I mean, I'm not even Arabic, and I know the word for blessing. And it ain't yasaluna. And it ain't salat.
Alonzo, okay. I'm sorry. Alonzo, you're saying we don't have a method or criteria. We're reading something. Here's the criteria. We're asking if there's any meaning behind it. And we've been doing that. If you had been listening, you would notice that.
Alonzo is the runner. Alonzo will never come on my show and debate me. Yes, Ibn footnote, a non-native. Okay, 99, we've seen that. Okay. 100. Say, if you own the treasuries of my Lord's mercy, you will surely withhold fear of spending, and the human was stingy.
Again, it's as if Allah's saying his Lord's mercy
Yeah.
is what he's telling them to say.
This is why this cannot be Allah speaking. Now, granted, this is not Allah speaking in verse 100 because it says say. So Allah is telling somebody to say, if you own the treasuries of my Lord's mercy, you would surely withhold through fear of spending. And the human was stingy. Which human? Okay, here we go
That's
again.
singular again.
The story of Moses is copied from the Bible and corrupted once again. Notice that the Quran claims there are 9 plagues, but only named 5 of them. One of the 5 is a flood, which is incorrect, because we know Egypt was never flooded, except maybe during the time of Noah. But Noah didn't live in the time of Moses. I'm not going to go through, see the verses, blah, blah, blah. Okay. All right, 101. And indeed, we gave Moses 9 clear signs. And we know that Moses was given 10 plagues, or I should say Egypt was blessed by 10 plagues, not 9. So ask the children of Israel when he came to them. Okay. Muslim, could you tell me who Israel is from the Quran? Because if you can't, then Allah failed you miserably, because I can tell you.
You might have to go read the Torah to find out.
You're going to have to read the 5 books of Moses. Okay, so Pharaoh said to him. Now, Allah assumes that Pharaoh is a name. Pharaoh is not a name. Pharaoh is a title. Just like Messiah. In the Quran, Messiah is a name given to Isa. Well, I got bad news for you.
It's a title.
It's a title. It is not a name. And to see if I'm correct, let me go to Corpus Quran and see what that is. I am on chapter, I'm in the wrong place. Where are we? Chapter 7, 101. Chapter 17, English translation. Chapter 17, 101.
Pharaoh is basically a title similar to king.
Okay, and also Pharaoh was also used the name as for like a land or. Okay, let me see word for word. And certainly the signs clear, the children of Israel, and he came to them and he said to him, Pharaoh, proper noun. Yes, proper noun means it's a name. And it's
They don't
masculine.
know. Allah doesn't know.
Allah doesn't know that Pharaoh is not a name. So Pharaoh said to him, surely I think you are bewitched, O Moses. He said, indeed, you know that nothing of those sent down except from your Lord of the heavens and the earth as proof. And surely I think that you, O Pharaoh, are doomed. Ooh, that's a mouthful right there. So he desired to expel them out of the land.
Who's desiring? Is that Pharaoh or is that Allah?
Yeah, that's Pharaoh. So this is Pharaoh speaking. So this is Allah paraphrasing what Pharaoh said. So notice that Pharaoh's words got into the Quran. Make a Quran like this. Well, Pharaoh just made one. He's speaking in the generous Quran. So he desired to expel them out of the land. So we drowned him and all of those who were with him. Now, in another chapter, Allah saved him.
I think Allah needs to abrogate more.
Yes. We said after him to the children of Israel, dwell in the land. Now, this means that there was no exodus, according to the Quran, because the children of Israel, they didn't dwell in Egypt. They left Egypt. If I'm not mistaken. Now, I do make mistakes now and then, but that's why there was an exodus. They left Egypt. They got tired of being slaves. Dwell in the land. So when the promise of the hereafter comes to pass, we bring you all together. Okay. And
wait. When the promise of the hereafter comes, so what if the promise of the hereafter has come to pass? Why is he doing something afterwards? I mean,
he's going to bring them together only after the hereafter. Forget about
so only after they're dead,
right? Before that, they're going to be scattered, but they're going to be living in Egypt. Okay. Now here it goes. And with the truth, we sent it down. And with the truth, it is sent down. What the hell was sent down? Okay. And we did not send you except as a giver of good news and a warner. Okay. Now this is funny.
So about the comment that he's saying, whether it's 2 or 4 is still the same thing. You can't avoid the language says yusalluna, which means they pray.
Yeah. 106. And a Quran we divide it so that you may recite it to the people. Uh-oh. I thought we were talking about Moses. Moses got a Quran? Am I reading something wrong here?
So if Moses got a Quran, how did Muhammad get one?
I don't know. Maybe
we have some problems here because if Moses had it, you'd think he would have talked about it and you would hear about it in the Old Testament.
I mean, 104 is talking about Moses. He's telling that the children of Israel, aka Moses, is going to dwell in the land of Pharaoh, Egypt.
So if Moses has the Quran, okay, so if we look at it this way, Moses writes the first 5 books of the Bible. Doesn't that mean that Muslims should be reading it?
But here's even funnier. In the Quran, we divided it so that you may recite it. And we sent it down descending.
If that makes any sense.
Now, Muslims will tell you this is Muhammad, because he got the Quran in 23 years.
That doesn't make any sense either.
But the Quran wasn't sent down. It was revealed. But how did we get from Moses and Pharaoh to the Quran being divided? You see what I mean, Omar? It's like the person has a memory lapse. And I can show you that clearly in chapter 3 and chapter 19, which we haven't gotten there. 107, say, believe in it or do not believe it. Okay. Surely those who have been given the knowledge before it, when it is recited to them, they will fall on their chins worshiping. Man, that's gotta hurt. You ever fall on your chin? Not pretty.
Ouch.
And they will say, praise be to our Lord. Surely the promise of our Lord was fulfilled. I'm going to stop just before 111. And they fall down on their chins weeping, and it makes them more humble. So if you fall on your chin, it's going to make you, I can understand the weeping.
I can understand, making it more humble because you kind of feel stupid after you do it.
I can guarantee you, if you fall on your chins, it's going to hurt, and you will be weeping. Make sure you have your tongue inside, or you might be missing it, or at least a piece.
Yeah.
Okay, so say, call on Allah, or call on, call on Allah, or call on the merciful. That's 2 different people. But again, they do a little.
So wait a minute. If you're calling on Allah or calling on the merciful, and it's 2 different people, how does Allah call himself the merciful if the merciful is somebody else?
Now the writers of the Quran, they were slick. They noticed they had done some damage, so then they came back with the next verse. But whatever you call, so to him are the best names, and do not be loud in your prayer, neither be soft in it, but follow a middle way between those. Okay, because
does that make there 3 different gods here now?
Well,
we got Allah, we got merciful, and then a middle way.
what a Muslim will tell you is that, Allah and merciful, that's just another name or an attribute for Allah, because he's got 99 names.
But it can't be. According to this verse, merciful is something else.
It's a title. So again, Muslims don't know the meaning of words.
I think that's the standard response of the followers of Islam. They want to control the language. They want to change definitions so it makes their God seem superior. But the truth is, it doesn't make their God seem superior. It makes them seem weaker. Right. And that's the sad, sorry truth of it.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I see Leah dropped out. We're going to call it quits. We'll be back tomorrow, 6 o'clock. We'll pick up and we'll finish chapter of the journey. Really wasn't much of a journey, if you ask me. And hopefully the first 30, 40 minutes, you got an idea that the Quran fails as a communication device.
And I will say this, if you're listening and you've made a choice that Islam is not for you, congratulations. Now I'm going to say, take a look, read the book of Matthew. I would say what we've been reading, I would tell you to go read Genesis, Exodus, read those stories. They're real, they're truthful stories, and then make a choice.
Right. Now,
right? You get to make a choice to follow Jesus, and that's up to you.
Mr. Alonzo thinks that we're stupid, that he's trying to say we have classic Arab dictionaries right? And that he's trying to say that Yusaluna, that it means blessing.
He's probably doesn't.
But the
I don't
problem
think
is,
Alonzo knows Arabic, so he's
the
revealing
problem
himself
is,
as someone who doesn't know
Alonzo,
Arabic.
what you're telling me is your Allah doesn't know the difference between blessings, which is baraka, and yasaluna or salat. Because I can show you a hadith where Allah and the ants perform salat.
Again,
the
he's
prophet.
revealing he doesn't know any Arabic. That's what he's just
Yeah, he
done.
doesn't. Yeah.
So he's trying to appeal to a source that he doesn't have, and he's trying to show, and he's just demonstrated to everybody he doesn't know Arabic.
Right.
I'm not saying I do.
Right.
I'm not declaring that. The person
Right.
who translated this can speak fluent Arabic, but you know what? You have just declared to everybody you're appealing to something, and you're telling us we're wrong when you don't actually. Again, we had Arabic speakers here; they know, but you apparently can't understand that they are the source.
Hey, brother Eric, God bless you. Good to see you. Alonzo, post a link to a classic Arabic dictionary. Okay, I know many Arabic speakers, native Arabic speakers besides Usama. Not a single one of them tells me that Yusaluna, which comes from the word salat, means blessings. Okay.
Well, again, he can't tell. He won't even know how to look up the word if he's using. I'm guessing he just knows those three words together. I'm not saying he's genius enough to actually know how to use one of these, but it would make me
Go to
concerned.
Lane's Lexicon. I didn't know Lane's Lexicon was an authority. Why don't you go to the real one? Go to Lisan, what's it called? Lisan El Arabiya or something. The first, it's in Arabic, so you have to know how to read Arabic. Okay. But anyway, guys, let's call this for a day. It's 2 hours and 6 minutes. Again, like I said, we demonstrated just from one example that we use, which was Abraham, that the Quran cannot hold a candle
Hello?
to the Bible.
Oh, am I back? Sorry about that.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Thanks.
So we demonstrated that the Quran is kind of pretty much useless. It has no details, no information. It's poorly written.
Yeah, Alonzo has made all these comments, but he hasn't shown us any details in the Quran.
Alonzo, Leah here is a native Arabic speaker. So we have Alonzo here. He's a runner. Alonzo would never.
He's saying pretty much that the modern, I guess, that we speak in right now, but I'm looking back at some of these classical ones and I'm seeing that not all of them are saying that. So I don't know if he heard from someone else that said that, all of them are agreeing in the same way.
Yeah. Again, he's not. He's probably just been told that that's there. He doesn't read Arabic. I'm not saying I do again, but we have you and others who read Arabic, and you can tell them what the truth is. He currently can't.
But Paul, even his own Muhammad hijab, it's in my channel.
Yeah.
He says to David Wood that Allah prays to Muhammad, not for Muhammad.
Yes.
Now, he did try to do some damage control later on and try to say that he meant praise, which would still be wrong. But it's not blessing. The hadith says that Allah does salat. So now is Alonzo going to tell me that salat is blessing? Because you perform salat 5 times a day. So Alonzo, when your 6-year-old wife gives you your cojones, come on my show and we'll debate your Quran. And I want you to prove to me that the Quran was not written by a bunch of ignoramus who didn't know Arabic. That's why the Quran is poorly written. But I know you won't do that. Okay?
Oh, just again, it's try the simple thing. Alonzo, would you accept a debate to clarify? You would have to take the point of view that the Quran is a clear communication device. That was the theme of this show. Would you dare to take that point of view?
Nah, he won't take that point of view. Anyway, Alonzo, don't waste my time. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to end the broadcast. Thank you, everybody, for coming. God bless you. We'll do it again tomorrow, 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, where we come back and we destroy the Quran and Allah's perfect book. Okay. All right, Alonzo. Your wife is calling you. It's breastfeeding time. All right, I'm ending the broadcast.
All right.